Hi guys, I am so sorry about that little delay there. I was like finishing up the episode, watching the post episode kind of breakdown by all the creators, which you all know I love to watch. And then I came in here and my mic was refusing to turn on with the cable that I've been using for the past, I don't know, 6 months worth of videos and live streams. So not sure why I decided to throw a temper tantrum today, but of course we're here to talk House of the Dragon season 2 episode 3. I really liked this episode. I think it went places I did not expect it to, and I'm really worried for my boy Damon. I'm gonna let you guys know right off the bat. If something happens to him, I'm not gonna be happy about it. Okay, listen, I again haven't read this far in the book, so I don't know. I'm also just realizing, sorry, I think I ruined my own coaster here. I left a sticky note on it and it got wet and I think it dyed it. That is not an issue for today though. Guys, how do I even want to approach this episode? Let me welcome you guys and get my head in the right headspace, and then we'll get into talking about that episode. Please leave all your thoughts in the comments as always. Nick said, "Ooh, child." Allison, ooh, girl. Listen, if you weren't Team Black before this, because of some like loyalty you held to Alicent, I don't know what you're doing after this episode. Like, I need the Alicent stands to answer right now for the things that she is moving forward with. You see the recognition on Olivia Cook's face so clearly of Alicent taking in what Rhaenyra is telling her, thinking of all the events that have transpired due to her, now we know it, misunderstanding of Viserys's words. And yet she chooses to change nothing. She chooses to go on as if this conversation with Rhaenyra had never happened. Like, I don't know that that's a defendable position, other than the fact that, like, oh, it is too late. Like, I can't really do anything about it. But I think it speaks to, oh my gosh, excuse me. It speaks to Rhaenyra's, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Her capability of ruling, her being the rightful heir. Because you see Alicent, in the way that she's raised her family, has not been in this way of, like, upholding honor in a way. Anyway, I mean, I don't want to get too carried away. Nick, welcome to the chat. This episode really did have it all. Network 98, welcome to the stream and happy belated birthday. I hope your 17th birthday was amazing. Okay, guys, I'm going to try to give all my thoughts up front for this episode while it's still fresh so I can record it. I still have not uploaded the first 2 live streams clips. I'm so sorry about it. I actually really am so sorry about it. Things keep getting in the way, and I keep trying to just output the best videos I can. So I apologize for the delay in these. You'll, of course, always have the live streams to come back to, but I'm going to start recording now so I can kind of get those thoughts out there. But I think my biggest takeaways from season 2, episode 3 are, I love the way that they are using other characters, the small folk or other families, to kind of represent what is happening within the Targaryen household. And I know in some cases it could be a little like on the nose, a little bit of a feeling of you're just telling us exactly what's going to happen. But I think that it's so important because of some of the lines that have been delivered in this series is like, this is not Game of Thrones where we're dealing with kings and queens and also cutting to scenes of Jon Snow and the Starks and people who are the kind of like bastard sons or the not Knights of the Vale. What are they called? The Night's Watch. We're dealing with one singular family. And I think it's really important to remember that this isn't just a story taking place across King's Landing and Dragonstone and those 2 places and these 2 sets of characters and like them playing out. It's them having these conversations one-on-one, or the familial transgressions that have taken place over years and generations are having real effects on other small folk, other members of Westeros, other citizens of Westeros, because you are quite literally seeing with the Blackthorns and the... Why am I blanking today on all the names? The anyways, those two families at the beginning is the point I'm trying to make. They obviously have reasons to already hate each other, and they already have this rivalry, but they escalate it to the point that they're destroying the possible force of 40,000 men, which is just absurd. I thought that parallel was so excellent. I'm really also enjoying the dynamic between Rhaenys and not Lucerys. Why? Y'all, hold on. I need a House of the Dragon family tree, because your girl's struggling. Corlys. Rhaenys and Corlys. They have this love for each other, this genuine love, and her discussing the heir after losing both of her biological children, losing one of her grandsons, even though we say that with air quotes a little bit, she is so focused on, if something were to happen to you, like, we need to secure our bloodline basically by naming an heir. And it's such a... Corlys doesn't even want to acknowledge it because he doesn't want to, like, admit that something bad is happening. But seeing these characters too come closer and closer to accepting that war is about to take place, and, like, not everyone is going to survive, and there's going to be massive death, not only within their family, but across all the 7 kingdoms of Westeros. It's just, I love the way that they are building and the emotional work that is being done that I think will pay off later in the season. I think it's so incredible. And I also think that where I was going with that is Rhaenys and Corlys feel like a very clear, like, power couple that is supposed to kind of represent Daemon and Rhaenyra, like a foil couple to them, because Daemon and Rhaenyra, same situation. One of them gets passed up for the throne. The other one kind of has the more important title at the time being, and they have these strong personalities, but there's obviously some type of bond there that no one else can understand. And I think what's so interesting is seeing Rhaenys come to terms quicker with the fact that there's going to be war the way that Daemon kind of has. I think Rhaenys and Daemon are also, like, really interesting foils, which there's so many ways in which you could break this up and be like, oh, these two characters balance well against each other. But I think that's just such a testament to the writing and the actors doing their parts, but specifically the writing as setting this up as to be like these things that happen. And they talked about it in the end of the behind the scenes. I can never come up completely with my own ideas for these. A lot of it is from the behind the scenes. They talk about the idea of generational trauma and generational burdens and issues and things that get passed along. And obviously, like, some of the issues that Viserys has with his own daughter are now getting passed on to his grandsons, or his sons and his grandsons, and that type of conflict, and on through the generations. And I think the same is true with kind of the same issues that Rhaenys and Corlys find themselves, like, they find themselves without children now. Rhaenyra wants to protect against that. Like, it's just, I love the parallels. The one thing I'm not loving, though, and I have to get this out the way, Daemon is spacing out a little bit at Harrenhal. He's freaking out. He's seeing some stuff. And I swear, when the Melisandre-looking lady was like, you're gonna die here, I was like, absolutely freaking not. I will not stand for him about to die. Like, I'm about to bust open Fire and Blood and figure out when he dies. And the fact that he hallucinates young Rhaenyra stitching Jaehaerys and seeing that, like, almost like there's this, I don't know if I want to go as far as to be like, he feels like this, like, he's corrupted Rhaenyra, or if he's just looking at, like, this kind of picture of young Rhaenyra and the dead Jaehaerys, kind of this consequence of his actions or things that he's responsible for. And the fact that, like, she's so important to him. Also, the fact that they brought Millie Alcock back, I was like, okay, I see what you guys are willing to do this season. And that was even before they brought Rhaenyra and Alicent together, which is, like, a whole separate thing I want to talk about. But I think with Daemon, I really want to explore his character and the way that he sees things. And I'm a little nervy because the only shots I saw of him for next week's promo were clearly hallucinations, because I don't think he's going to make his way in his jammies from Harrenhal to King's Landing. And I swear, if you kill my mans, I'm going to be coming for you, HBO. I'm going to be pissed off. Matt Smith was born to play a king consort. He did it with Prince Philip, and now he's doing it with Prince Daemon. And I can't have another one of my favorite characters go. I can't. I cannot do it. But I am really interested to kind of see where they take that. And also, like, I thought it was interesting the behind the scenes when they were talking about connecting Daemon to more of a supernatural realm, when he's like this very physical fighting, like, here's the odds kind of don't mean something to me, versus this kind of spiritual thing that's very intangible to him, and kind of merging those two. I'm hoping, my hope, can't even say my prediction, because if I was being honest with myself, I'd probably be like, I don't know which lady's gonna get him somehow. I don't want that to happen. But my hope is that he comes back with this kind of like steadfast belief in the Team Black cause, and kind of more of this, like, I can't just go rogue and do random stuff, even though that's part of his character, obviously. Anyway, I love him so much, and I love the fact that he's, even like in the face of these people who literally couldn't try to kill him if they wanted to, he's like, I'm not eating your food. Like, I don't want to get poisoned. Like, I did not fight the crab feeder. I did not ride a dragon to, like, eat your sus venison. Like, I'm not gonna do that. Kind of love him for that. But I just, I really don't want anything bad to happen to him. I love him so much. Anyway, okay. Last thing I want to talk about before I stop my little recording and we can kind of do a little back and forth chat is the bringing together of Rhaenyra and Alicent. I think, and I touched about this a little bit at the beginning of the stream. I think there's something so consequential about doing that on screen, because it feels very much like, oh, if only they could talk to each other. If only, blah, blah, blah. And having it happen and watching both of their reactions as the conversation goes down, because Rhaenyra comes to accept in that conversation that, like, oh, crap, maybe my dad did change his mind. And then as Alicent keeps talking, with maybe even a little sympathy for her friend, and you don't even get it. What's interesting is, like, you almost see Rhaenyra accept a little bit of that defeat, not like almost processing, like, how do I de-escalate this as quickly as possible, like, if I'm wrong. And you don't expect that from her, because she's been like, that's my throne, your son's sitting upon my throne. And then all of a sudden, when Alicent continues and Rhaenyra has this secondary recognition of, oh no, I'm even more sure than I was before coming here that I'm the rightful heir, that my father was telling this story, this prophecy, that it's not for Aegon. She was talking about Aegon the Conqueror. And then Alicent doubles down on this wrong opinion, even though you see in her eyes that she has, it is so good to see, again, this character work in these two girls who come from a very similar place, but different understandings of the world, and Alicent having this very Hightower-esque reaction of, like, well, politically it'd just be really embarrassing, like, I can't stop this. Whereas Rhaenyra, with this kind of passion and a little bit of, like, her father's goodness and honor, being like, I have to step down if I was wrong. And I just can't get enough of it. Oh, guys, I am so wrong. I didn't even turn on my last lights. Hold on. We need to fix this. I was like, why does it look so dark? Hold on. Anyway, there we go. I really, really loved that work that they were able to do in that scene. And it just felt like such an important scene too, not only because it sets the tone for the rest of it, which I keep saying, and even Rainey said in this episode, like, you can't point to any one individual event as to why this conflict will have started. Like, does it go back as far as, like, your father marrying Alicent? Does it go to, like, Luke getting Aemon's eye? Like, what point do you want to say that this is like, oh, that was the thing, that was the issue that caused this? And I think that was really smart too, to have that conversation right after you see these two brothers who are literally twins be buried together. There's no real rhyme or reason why both of them are necessarily gone at this point, and going and following, again, Rhaenys and Rhaenyra's conversation at Eric and Aric's grave, right after the Blackthorns and the other people. I literally can't think of their names. Like, I'm literally looking at their crest, and I'm like, that's not a deer, that's not Baratheon. Like, although the Baratheon's bears, and I need to go back and, like, read all the names, because I'm like, Tyrell, Tully, blah, blah, blah. I can't get it all straight right now. I can't get it all straight. But the moral of the story is, I think they have done such a great job with parallels, foil characters, and just this thematic element of the first season carrying over to this season of the generational kind of burden of this throne, and how fascinating it is to see characters with varying levels of honor, insecurity, and like reason behind what they're doing, like bring about a war of dragons. And I can't wait to see where it goes next. Let me get to y'all's thoughts, because Nick has some. Let me see them in the comments. Also, I'm trying to look up these the whatchamacallit, the bloodlines. Also, okay, I don't know, and I wasn't necessarily following along with the guy who was like, the one part of the episode I wasn't crazy about was the guy that was randomly like, hey, I'm Viserys and Daemon's bastard brother. And I was sort of like, what? Why are you deciding to bring this up? And also, was that was not the same guy as the small folk whose daughter was like ill? Was it? Because at first I thought it was, and I was like, oh, we're gonna get more of this man to like associate us with the small folk. I don't think that's true. Okay, hold up. So I'm looking at this. I'm trying to look at this. What am I saying? I'm trying to look at the bloodlines. Okay, also, chat, is your understanding also that Bela and Jace are going to get married? That they're, like, promised to each other? I feel like that happened at, like, the dinner table episode last year, and last season, but I can't actually be, like, 1,000% sure of that. So I'm a little, oh my gosh, sorry. I'm a little bit lost there, but I'm trying to remember why exactly it would be Joffrey or Rhaena. That could be Corlys's heir. I guess they're grandsons, or grandson, and granddaughter. But I get that Jacaerys, is Rhaenyra's heir, although I think the throne line actually doesn't go there because of the whole like Harwin Strong thing. I don't know. Clearly, I haven't gotten that far in the book, and every passing week that I do one of these live streams and sound more and more confused, I realize how much more I need to really dive into that book. Okay. Nick said we got dragons flying, human dragons, and a little bit of action at the brothel. Alicent realizing the truth, Rhaenyra being James Bond. So good. So much happened. All the names are so hard to keep up with. Like, it's not even like I could be like, oh, this actor is this character, but it's the figuring out the bloodline. And God forbid if somebody had been like, hey, to save your life or the life of a loved one, tell me what dragon Bela is riding. Girl, I was like, I have not seen a green one of these dragons before. I'm lost. I am so lost. Damon has little side missions hallucinating, talking about your grace, sir, you are not the king. Yeah, that was another thing that was interesting about this episode, is seeing Daemon almost trying to be like, he's like, oh, well, the visit from the crown. And it was like, well, I mean, like, you are, I guess, the king consort. Am I using that term correctly? See, I don't know. I know it's dowagers would not be correct for him. Sorry, guys. I need to adjust my thing. Define king consort. This stream is a mess, y'all. A mess. Yes, alternate title for husband of a reigning queen. That is correct. But yeah, no, I'm trying to like remember who all the dragons belong. Like I can't do it. I can't figure it out. I'm so confused. Nick, I agree with you. I think that the White Worm is going to be like Littlefinger from the original series, like somebody who technically doesn't have a lot of power, but actually does. And the thing I also really liked about this episode, and y'all tell me if you feel the same way, I feel like you really got the sense of like each respective heir building their team. Like Aegon has chosen a new hand. He's gotten new guards. He's gotten... when does Alicent have a brother? Since when does she have a brother? And why was he not hanging out with them at King's Landing. Like, where to... Oh, I guess he was ruling Hightower. Whatever. Anyway, we've got Cole as the new hand. I feel like Rhaenys is kind of like Rhaenyra's hand. Like, I think she's the person that Rhaenyra trusts the most on her council, who she can kind of go to and be advised by. And then on top of that, you have kind of their, like, secret spreader. Like, we have not Corlys. Gosh darn it. What is his name? Oh my gosh, the clubfoot guy. The guy who's, like, likes Alicent's dogs, if you know what I mean. He is, like, Aegon's whisperer, and then the White Worm is Rhaenyra's whisperer. And I agree with you, Nick. I think she's going to be one that she's going to be around. She is ready to get back at the people who have wronged her, and very much a fan of that. I know we're only in season 2, but I'm trying to predict who the characters are that are going to stick around the longest. I also think Aegon's sister wife, will be one of those characters. Yeah, I think Helena is going to be around for a hot minute too. I really feel like it's my duty, guys, as the person streaming this once a week, to really get this bloodline down. And so from the one I pulled up, Daemon and Rhaenyra have the 2 blonde kiddos that they sent off, but I think they're supposed to have a third. Possibly. I'm not quite sure. She has 2 of the 3 Laenor's kiddos. And then, like, I'm trying to just keep up with these kids. Also, are they ever going to go back to the fact that I think that Helena and Aemond Aemond, I think, kind of had a thing for Helena, which, again, you know, questionable Targaryen, getting together. See, and I also need to remember how this gets back to freaking Daenerys, because I feel like that it's pretty clear after the Dance of Dragons. Like, even though it's years, I think we get there. Okay, this one I think makes sense. I also don't want to, like, spoil too much, like, not beyond the episode, but Nick said, we've gotten a lot of time with Alicent and her team of Avengers. That's exactly what it feels like, Nick. Like, oh, let's team up, like Team Green, Team Black, like feels very Civil War-esque. I wonder, will we get to know the other key members of Rhaenyra's team? Yeah, this was something I was wondering this episode. I've wondered it in past episodes, but I've kind of let it slide because I'm like, oh, well, I guess it makes sense. Like, it can't just be like her kids giving her advice, because, like, that doesn't make any sense. But I'm a little bit confused as to, what am I trying to say? I'm a little bit confused as to who they are, what their names are, because, like, I feel like I understand who's at Aegon's side. And like you said, Nick, because those are all characters from King's Landing where Rhaenyra grew up, and they're not, like, ones that came along, I'm a little bit confused. But yeah, I need to know who they are, because I'm just wondering, like, who are they? Are their families there? Like, who? I would love an account of who's at King's Landing and who's, like, who's who. And I'm a little unclear at this point, like, who they each have on their sides. I guess Team Black has... See, this is where I'm confused about Aegon, because I guess he has the Lannisters, because the Lannister brother is, like, on his council. And then I'm pretty sure he has, like, obviously, like, the Kingsguard and the Hightowers, whatever. But, like, I know Rhaenyra has the Starks, which, unless somebody's going to tell me otherwise, I'm like, oh, they're strong fighters from the north. And then she's got the Vale people, right? So I feel like I need to really research this further and be like, who is exactly on each side, because I really want to figure, like, I want to know it, you know. I want to go in and be like, here's who this is. I wonder who doesn't make it out. I think one side will lose a son again. And I don't know how you guys feel about this. I kind of feel like they're doing very little with Aemon's character, and I don't know if it's because they want to show the stark contrast of, like, somebody who's actually not as quote unquote important has caused, like, the biggest or one of the bigger defining like escalations of this conflict. I don't know if they're trying to do that. I don't know if he's going to die. I feel like if a character's about to die in Game of Thrones, they get a lot of importance and almost like character specific episodes because they want you to feel that pain to the most extreme. That's why I'm worried about my boy, Prince Daemon. I'm worried about him. Aemond, I'm almost like he's kind of safe because all we've ever seen is his little like, no offense to the actor, I'm so sorry for saying this, but like why do they keep shooting him and making him look like Gollum, like the like little body of like Tom Riddle, like the Voldemort baby thing, I think from like Order of the Phoenix, no, from Goblet of Fire. Yeah, like literally I'm not going to show it, but like their little like baby Voldemort thing that they carry out in Goblet of Fire to be like, oh, the Dark Lord lives, blah, blah, blah. And it's supposed to show he's like this weak. What? Why does Aemond look like that every time we see him? Like, what's going on? Hold on. Can I bring this forward? Because I'm so like, it's so grody. I think so too, Nick. I think he has, I don't know if it's like an Oedipus complex or if he just genuinely like does not feel any warmth from Alicent ever since the event happened, or if it's a situation in which he like, no, sorry, those are the two options. I am tired. Oh my goodness. We either have the option of him like having the Oedipus complex, which I don't think is as likely, or we have him just literally needing like care, and since like all the focus is on Aegon and like how they're gonna like go about this war, like nobody cares as much about him, and so I'm a little bit confused about where Aemon's gonna go. I feel like we've already had some deaths of characters that I was not expecting. Aaron and Arik, or Eric and Eric. I always feel like I need to say Eric and Arik, but whatever. Same difference. You guys know who I'm talking about. The twins. May they rest in peace. I really don't want any of the young kiddos to die. I am very fearful for Bela. I'm a little worried because my girl was told not to engage, and Sir Criston Cole, I swear if Sir Criston Cole kills any of the Targaryen kids, I will hate him even more than I already do. I kind of want him to be a goner. If I'm being honest, I admitted it. I want him to go. But I think most people feel that way. Crispy Cole, he could go. But I'm also like, are they going to do something to like pull at the heartstrings? To be like, oh, he wasn't that bad of a guy. I don't know. I kind of want to see him like create his own demise of like this cocky. Because I kind of did understand in this episode too, like he is still like a pretty good like military brute force leader. Also, why was he like in public trying to get Alicent's affection in front of her brother? Like, dude, you are so stupid. You are literally so stupid. And honestly, like, I'm also a little confused, and this is not like to insult the writing of the show, but just to insult like the characters. But like, you're trying to tell me that House Green isn't gonna just crumble amongst itself, because like Aegon is on the brink. Man is ready to fly into war and just sacrifice himself. Like, literally whole thing would be over. I'm like, let him go. I know they're not going to let him fly into battle unprotected, but like, I feel like he is on the verge of doing something rash like that. Everyone just like is constantly around him. Then we have Cole and Alicent like just sharing their business. And like, thank God for Helena actually, because Helena being like, I forgive you, like, you can see the level of relief that gives Alicent. But I'm also like, Alicent, girl, like, now you have doubled down, and actually your daughter really shouldn't forgive you, because your daughter forgave you for keeping the Kingsguard man's eyes occupied. She forgave you for that, for the death of her child, despite you being like, oh, I'm so worried about you, my baby girl, like, well, your child's gone, whatever, Alicent. But then you're gonna double down on this conflict that you now know is a sham? After your own daughter forgave you, after a whole last episode, you were begging for someone to confess your sins too. Fake. I just despise her. I just despise her at this point. Sorry, I'm all over the place, but I can't with Alicent. I can't. Dragon Movie Guy says, love the live stream. Like, didn't love season 1. Wish they brought back Millie Alcock for more episodes. Was the best part of season 1. My husband feels very much the same way. Loves Millie Alcock. I think that Emma Darcy, though, has done a phenomenal job, and I think there's a level of like motherly grief that's like a big part of Rhaenyra's character that I very much did not expect, but I really think that Emma Darcy captures that so incredibly well and is such a force to be reckoned with. And I'm not saying that, oh my god, sorry, there was a bug on me. Ugh. Sorry, guys. Actual spider on my leg. Oh my gosh, where did it go? Oh, it wasn't even a spider. It was literally, okay. Clearly I need to get some bug spray. Anyways, sorry about that. I think that there's something so, having the actresses be older, I think adds a level of weight, and this sounds so dumb, like, oh, they got older actors to play them so they would look older, but there's a level of something has changed this person, and even though the casting is so painfully like accurate and like they look so identical, I think that the casting of them is really important to kind of signify they are not the same girls of their youth, and a lot has transpired to change them. And obviously now we get that through them being in visually different settings and circumstances and whatnot. But anyway, I loved Millie Alcock. I want to see her in more things. I do feel like, though, like when Rhaenyra is in the nun outfit going to the church to try to meet Alicent, that is when the two of those actors looked so freaking similar. So good. Yes, thank you, Young Movie Guy. Gravitas is definitely the word I'm looking to. There's something about the theatricality of them. Not saying that the younger actors are not as good. There's just a level of like age and understanding of their circumstances that I think is really aids in the storytelling. Aids in the storytelling of the characters. Nick says, after watching the recap with the creators at the end, they made a good point. It was like Alicent had no choice but to continue with the elite because she has no power. I mean, that does make sense. Like, she can't control her own son. She really can't control either of them. They've both acted out of her best wishes, her desire. And you're so right, Nick. Her father's now learning through the hand. Her son wants to go to war no matter what. Cole, she doesn't have any power over Cole. That's for freaking sure. Now that he's the hand, he thinks he's all hoity-toity, Mr. Important. Get off your freaking high horse, Cole. I literally hate him. I will never miss an opportunity. Literally, somebody play Not Like Us. Let me say, I'm the biggest hater. I hate the way that he walks. I hate the way that he talks. Okay? I need that stated on the live stream. I hate Kristen Cole. Her daughter is the queen. But, yeah, and her daughter's kind of like spacey anyway. No offense to Miss Helena. But she has no authority to change it. I think that's such a good point, Nick, because seeing her in this truly powerless position, despite the fact that she's done everything to please her father, to please the king that she was forced to marry, and to like be forced to play this political game. Because I do remember in the last season we talked a lot about the fact that Alicent has no other choice but to play the politics game. Rhaenyra, as a younger girl, was very much like, I don't want the crown. I don't want to have to get married. Ha ha ha. Like, I can just do whatever I want. My dad loves me. I can get a pony, blah, 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 whatever. And Alicent does not come from doesn't have that same luxury, despite the fact that both are women. And now they're in these situations where like Alicent's only power is to stand by the men beside her. And I think that's such an interesting, like, even Rhaenyra's effort to go and speak with Alicent to try to prevent the conflict is such a different approach to leadership than Alicent or anyone on her side has. So yeah, she's forced to continue with the lie, which I think is a really important point. And I think it continues that through line for her of this somewhat powerless individual who has found herself in a very important status, and really by no choice of her own. Like, she can't, and you're so right. She can't control Larys. Is that his name? Larys and Corlys. Please, I don't know why those two are throwing me today. Corlys, like, I get that their names all have to sound familiar. There's a reason for it. But also, like, thank God for Alicent. Like, at least her name, like, nobody Nobody's even close to that. Nobody's even close. Like, Bela, I understand. Although, like, they really got this thing going on, like, Bela, Lena, like, why, guys, let this be a lesson that you don't have to give your children the same names or syllables or, like, vowel sounds as your name has. Please, I can get a point. No, that was literally, like, when she was a child, like, she just had this level of arrogance, and I think that's why she ends up, you know, obviously having her relationship with Kristen Cole, but also, like, falling for, I think the appeal of somebody like Damon is he won't just give her anything she wants, and now she's finding it as an issue as queen that, like, this, like, dangerous person that's not just gonna, like, bend to her will or give her whatever she wants like her dad will or everybody else is supposed to. She really he's kind of a detriment to her cause, like, detriment to this, like, kind of untetherable force that is Daemon Targaryen that was so appealing in youth is not as appealing as an adult. Like, the Rhaenyra storytelling is just amazing. And Nick, I totally agree. I need to see Daemon and Aemond go at it. I think that's honestly probably the only way I'd accept either of their deaths, to be fair, is them going at it, because I think it would be, if Daemon were to lose and die, I think it would be from a almost like he has this equal on the other side / it's almost like a righting of wrong. Like, he tried to get Rhaenyra what she wanted, which was justice for Luke, and he couldn't. Or if he were to defeat Aemond, I'd feel like, okay, this wasn't just, oh, Aemond randomly is gone, he died randomly. Anyway, am I gonna go and spoil, like, who dies and stuff? Yeah, I'm not gonna tell you guys, because I don't want to do that. I don't want to ruin that for you. We haven't gotten that far into the season. Guys, give me your final thoughts, because I can feel my brain slowing down, shutting down for the evening, and I need to hop into bed and get ready to go. So let me know your final thoughts on the episode. Overall, I think I enjoyed this one. I won't say that it's, if I'm really thinking about what happens, it's also crazy how much they can pack in an hour episode in this show. Like, it's actually mind blowing to me, like, the amount of storylines that we had going, and for them not to feel like, oh, we're just cutting away. Like, I think that there are certain shows that I do really love, Bridgerton, that I think could take a couple of hints from a show like this on how to manage so many characters and storylines and not make it feel like you're wasting our time or distracting us from something. Dragon Movie Guy, thank you so much for coming to the live stream. I will be back next Sunday, of course. I really appreciate you being here. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday evening. Nick says, it's so crazy to me that Alicent never once considered to ask the dying king. Yeah, no, I know. Like, I literally, like, Alicent, babe, you could have stopped all of this. Like, again, Rhaenys really got me the quote of the episode with her saying, like, no one is going to remember what started this and nothing can be specifically defined, because you're so right, Nick. Like, if Alicent had just thought it through and been like, what did you say, Viserys? Not that he was going to come through as, like, clear, but if she had even talked to Rhaenyra then, like, she could have said, hey, I don't want to throw this accusation that he's changed his mind. Does this mean anything to you? She was just in such this rage, and, like, yeah, honestly, am I going to put the blame on Alicent for all of this happening? Yes, because she simply could have asked a clarifying question, or she could have gone to Rhaenyra rather than being like, oh, Aegon's the king. He wanted Aegon to be the king. Oh, it's Aegon now. Like, again, it's so good, that concept of, like, no one knows and it's not going to ever matter what exactly started it, because there's so many falling dominoes almost that lead to a war of this scale that there is about to take place. And I love all of this foreshadowing and all of this, like, hinting at things that might have happened in the past. Ugh, it's so freaking good. Nick said, this might be my favorite episode so far of the season. Definitely the best ending to an episode this season, with Alicent learning the truth. Oh my god, 1 second, guys. I think I just choked on my own spit a little bit. Sorry about that. Anyway, I think that you make a good point, Nick. Like, I think having this level of a conversation, because everything has just been like, oh, let's try to avoid war. And, like, obviously we've had, like, major endings to each of these episodes thus far. But this one really does have this, like, final break of, like, there's no stepping down from this war going further, because the two people who kind of want to stop it and who could have not, and that Rhaenyra's effort has not prevailed. And so we're headed into war. And I feel like next episode is going to be a battle episode. I also really want to see what Damon is up to. And I really just hope that Melisandre lady does not get him. That's all I'm going to say. Guys, thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much, Nick, for being here. I think you're here the whole stream. It's always so fun to talk to you, buddy. Sorry, guys, for coughing into the mic. I hope you enjoyed this stream. I will be streaming House of the Dragon, Season 2, Episode 4 next week. I will try to get the time a little bit more accurate and hopefully give you guys a little bit more heads up. I didn't even link today's on Instagram. So sorry. It was a busy day for me. But I hope that you guys all enjoy your week ahead. Excuse me. And for those in the US, happy early 4th of July. I am going to be posting a couple times this week, including the House of the Dragon episodes, clips eventually. Fingers crossed that I get that done. But I am so looking forward to chatting with you all next week about your thoughts of next week's House of the Dragon episode. So without further ado, if you're not subscribed, would love if you subscribe. That would help me out a lot. I really appreciate it. But thank you all so much for being here, and I'll see you next Sunday. Bye, guys.